What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the Nasty Nate channel. Today we're going to be talking about 5 things you need to look at before buying a used Duramax diesel truck. I've had tons of people message me on Instagram and comment on some YouTube videos asking random things about the Duramax diesel. So I have a 2006 LBZ that I daily drive. I've had it for a few years and I want to explain to you what I've done to this truck, things that I've found over the years, things that you should look for before buying one of these things. So stay tuned. Right now, let's get started with number 1. Before we get started with this video, yes, this is a bourbon barrel and I actually just picked it up. If anybody has ideas for it, throw down in the comments. Really want to make like a bar table type deal. If you guys want to see that as well, throw in the comments. I don't know if you guys are into that or not. If not, then I won't put it on YouTube. If you are, I'll definitely make a video. So stay tuned for that. If you guys are interested, let's get on to the truck. Here we go. My first thing I'm going to talk about is a delete. So if it's deleted, that can be a good thing. It can also be a bad thing. So let me pop the hood. If it's not deleted, I would not worry about it, whatever. But if it is deleted, you're going to want to look for where your EGR should be is right down here. So back here is going to be the up pipe that goes from the exhaust to your turbo. Well, mine has an LB7 up pipe. So the LB7 does not have an EGR, which means there's not a piece of your exhaust coming up here. And basically, if you have the LB7 up pipe, it's a better upgrade to do instead of just a block off plate. So just know that down the road, if you don't have that, you might need to upgrade to the LB7 up pipe. That might be something which you can actually see the up pipe right here. So the stock one actually goes up and it has like a Y shape. It branches off. One side goes to the turbo, one side goes to the EGR. A lot of people just put a blocker plate right there and they'll take the EGR out. So what can happen is the part that goes to the EGR has a little bellow like this, and it can actually expand because the EGR is not holding it in place, and you'll have a leak from there. So that can be a problem down the road. Not a huge deal if your truck has that though. And then you're gonna wanna see if it has the Y bridge done. So kind of hard to see right here, but basically this is gonna be your delete pipe. This would be going into the EGR way over here. Mine has the WC Fab delete with the WC Fab Y bridge. You want to see down here if it has the factory Y bridge, which is going to be basically this color aluminum. That's going to be a 2-piece design and it's held together with an O-ring. So if you have the factory Y bridge and you're tuned and deleted, you might see a leak down the road from that, and you probably want to replace it, or at least just know that. As far as deletes go, that's pretty much it. You're gonna see some wiring and stuff hanging around, sensors not being used like this. That's literally fine. Those get tuned out. So you wanna make sure it's tuned, obviously, and you have no check engine light. While we have the hood open, I'll move on to my second thing you wanna look for. Definitely head gaskets. So this, you can see my coolant is a little bit low. Haven't checked this in a long time, but basically, if you have blown head gaskets, your coolant will probably look black. Might be kind of hard to tell down there, but you can see it's pretty bright orange. This thing will be black. If this is black, pretty much run. That's a sign that you have blown head gaskets. Second thing to look for with head gaskets is this hose. See how I can squeeze this? You shouldn't be able to squeeze it all the way together, but you should be able to squeeze a little bit like this. Actually, this truck, when I bought it, I did not know enough about these. And when I got home a couple months later, I discovered this hose was hard as a rock. I mean, literally 3 days after I drove the truck, you could go out and barely even squeeze the hose. And then it also smelled like coolant after it ran. So that is definitely a sign of blown head gaskets. It leaked near the water pump, which is down in this area on the driver's side. And that was literally just because there was so much pressure in the cooling system that it was leaking out of the O-rings and out of the hose clamps where these hoses meet up. So if your truck has new hose clamps or they're cranked down and this is hard, that is probably a really good sign that it has blown head gaskets, and it's going to be expensive to fix. So this truck had blown head gaskets. I've had videos on my YouTube of me showing how to do this, and it was before I got into YouTube kind of hardcore, so I did not do a very good job of capturing all that. I wish I did. I want to show you guys right now, if somebody says it has head studs, I want to show you how to check. So right here, you're going to have to pull the wheel well off, or the wheel well liner, and you will see that is a head stud. You're going to see a threaded piece coming out of the nut. If it does not have the 12-point nut, actually the head bolts might be 12-point, I don't remember, but it's just going to be a bolt head on top. This is a nut with a threaded stud and an Allen key on the top. That tells you that this truck has been studded. It's as easy as that to see if it's been studded. So if somebody tells you that, get under the truck and look, because if not, you're getting screwed. My third thing to look for is if your truck that you're looking at hazes at idle. So yes, I have a 10-inch tip and this is a 5-inch straight pipe. So you're going to notice hazing a little more on a deleted and straight pipe truck, but I want to show you. My truck might not do it right now as much as it does when it's super cold out, but I want to show you. Might be kind of hard to see right now. Might be a little hard to see right now, but this truck does haze a little bit at idle, especially when it's cold. And in the colder months, they actually put additives in the fuel to make it not freeze and gel up, although sometimes it gets cold enough to do that still. So if it's colder, you'll see a little more haze. That's not to worry, because these trucks all haze a little bit. Even if their injector rates are in and whatever, I would not worry about a little bit of haze, because all these trucks do it. A lot of diesels do it, especially if they're deleted. If you see a little bit of haze, do not worry. If you don't have a way to check the injectors, they're probably fine. Now, if it's white smoking or maybe a little bit of blue haze and it's very visible in the daytime, that would be concerning, and that probably means you have injector problems, or you're burning oil through the turbo probably. That can happen sometimes if you have if your turbo's starting to go bad. So definitely start it up and just watch it idle. A really good way of checking this is actually looking at the truck at night and turning it on, letting it idle, and then get like a flashlight, or maybe you're in a parking lot with a little bit of light, and you will be able to see like perfectly clear how much haze is coming out of this. It's kind of weird to think that, but at night is a lot better way to view if your truck is hazing. Along the lines of hazing, it's going to bring me to my fourth point, and I want to look at blow by on this truck. So checking blow by is super easy. You want the truck running, you're going to pop the hood. What you want to do is flip over the oil cap like this, and if it is blowing off like this, that's way too much blow by and your truck is about to blow up. This right here is fine. It's just vibrating from the truck. You can see there's actually a tiny bit of blow by from this truck. And this truck literally has almost 200,000 miles on it. That amount of blow by is not to worry. And yeah, you're gonna be fine. All right guys, number 5 on my list is going to be rust. I'm gonna show you all the spots to look for rust on your truck. You wanna look for it under your fender right here. Your fender meets the cab under here, and they start to rust out back in this corner. Stuff gets bunched up in here because of this foam piece. It's a good idea to cut it out and wash behind that. So next is going to be your rocker. Let me show you. Let me get up under here and show you why these rust out. Basically, you're going to have this little hole right here from the factory, and stuff gets in there like salt and debris and dirt, and it traps moisture and starts to rust literally from the inside out. So that's going to be, you know, one of your biggest places for rust. And let me show you where in the cab corner, a very secret spot right here is a rubber grommet that you can literally pop off. You can get a flashlight and look in there to see if your cab corner is still rusty. You can also see in this little window right here if it's been replaced or rusty. You want to make sure you get under the truck and look at this stuff right here. Now, as far as the bed goes, I've seen bed floors rust out, but I think it's because they have those plastic liners that kind of keeps moisture. Right up in here, you want to take your finger and just run it along this. Yeah, it's going to be dirty, but you shouldn't be, you know, feeling it all crusty. Like, you want it to be normal feeling, and it should just be a little ridge. Let me get on the other side so we don't have the sun. And it should just look like that. This is a pretty clean Florida truck, and I've been trying to keep it very clean, so this should not have any rust. It's going to be really dirty though. I think that covers all of the rust on this truck, or where you would find it. Now I want to cover a few little things that I went through on my last truck and on this truck to show you just some little smaller items to look for when you're buying a truck. So my last truck had a rusted out sending unit actually, which is on the top of the fuel tank, and you could actually get under the truck and you could see fuel dripping off of the bottom of the fuel tank, and it was really shiny. So it was literally leaking unburnt fuel onto the ground from the top of the tank. Like if I filled it all the way and drove, it would kind of slosh out of the rusted holes in the top of the sending unit. One thing to look for, those can be expensive and annoying to replace. Another thing to look for is your front end stuff. Just drive it and make sure, you know, these are going to need ball joints, these are going to need tie rods, and just know that that stuff can be really expensive. So definitely, if it's being advertised, make sure you get under there and look. Another thing that almost all of these trucks do is they leak power steering fluid. So basically that's going to be in your pump. If you're finding like an oil leak, it's probably coming from your power steering. That's going to be on the driver's side, obviously, and you just want to make sure you have enough power steering fluid in the reservoir. It's not bad that it leaks, but you don't want to run the pump dry because you'll burn it right out. So make sure it's full. And then one of the last things that I like to check, because it's really easy while you're up under here, look at your rear pinion seal. See how this is pretty shiny right here? Yeah, my finger's covered in oil. This seal leaks, and it's really not that hard to replace. It's not very expensive, but definitely one thing to check, because if this has leaked for a long time and there's no fluid in your rear end, that would be a really expensive fix. So check that. And you know, if the truck you're looking at has any of these issues, that's just leverage on you to be able to buy the truck for a little cheaper price. Then you can get home and fix the stuff yourself. Hopefully that covers everything when you're buying a used Duramax. If you guys want to see any of the front end upgrades that I'm doing to this truck very soon, like this weekend, make sure you stay tuned. I will have how-tos on the wheel bearings, control arms. We are throwing track bars on here, tie rods, center link in the steering. Going to be building the entire front end. This is going to be a nasty upgrade for this truck, and I'm actually getting a super custom powder coat color on everything right now. So stay tuned for that color. Make sure you subscribe to Nasty Nate right down below. We'll catch you in the next one.